I don't want you to think of this solution, which is what I think it is. The end of capitalism, no more employer-employee. The dichotomy, master-slave, lord-serf, employer, it's gone. We have now finally democratized the enterprise, and that's how we're going to bring equality, fraternity, liberty, and all the rest. But I don't want you to think of it as a solution, pie in the sky, utopian, not at all. This already exists all over the place. And if you don't know that, that's about your education. The most successful example is something called the Mondragon Corporation in Spain. Mondragon started 60 years ago, 1956 to be exact. A Catholic priest in this little town in the north of Spain says to his parishioners, if we wait for people to come here and give us a job, we'll all die of old age. So the only way for us to have jobs, it's a very poor part of Spain was then, is if we become our own employer. So the Catholic priest, by the name of Arizmendi, Father Arizmendi, set up a co-op with the 6 workers. Fast forward to today. The Mondragon Cooperative Corporation is a unified corporation, but it's actually 250 roughly co-ops, worker co-ops. They all work this way. Everything is decided democratically. All of these, it's the 7th largest corporation in Spain. It has 100,000 employees. They run it like a co-op, and they've been doing it for decades. They're so successful they have their own university, the Mondragon University, where they teach courses, how to start a co-op, how to run a co-op, how to work out the problems of a co-op. You can go there and you get a degree in it. You didn't know that, did you? Your faces give you away. I wish I could film you and just show you. Just show you. Here's a couple things they did. Once a year there's a meeting of the workers where they assess the supervisors. And then the workers vote. If the workers like the supervisor, they keep their job. And if they don't, they're gone. The supervisors don't hire the workers. It's the other way around. Try to imagine this. Some of you are grinning with the sheer pleasure of the thing. And right, you should. Here's another decision they made. The highest paid worker at Mondragon cannot get more than 8 times the lowest. That's their range. For those of you not aware, in the United States, CEOs of large companies are roughly 300 times the lowest worker paid. You want to deal with inequality? They've already done that. They've crunched the inequality to much, much less. Nobody messes with Mondragon, not the right wing, not the left wing. Doesn't matter who's in government in Madrid. They're too powerful. People love them, and no one dares. Here's another example. Any of you that know about Italy? Anyone here from Italy, maybe? Okay, there's a region of Italy called Emilia-Romagna. It's one of the regions of Italy. In that part of Italy, 40% of the businesses are worker co-ops. It's the most cooperativized sector. You want to see how, and it's been that way for decades. So don't think that worker co-ops are some impossible pie in the sky, how would it ever work? It's fine. Don't mistake your not knowing it for it not being there. It would be a big, big mistake. Jeremy Corbyn, a name you should pay attention to, is the head of the Labour Party in Britain. Current polls indicate that he will be the next Prime Minister of Britain if they hold an election. Okay? The Labour Party there is like the Democratic Party here, but more leftist. Okay? His party has the following program they've committed to. If the Labour Party is elected, they will immediately pass the following law. Every business in England can continue the way it is, except if that business decides to close down, or if that business decides to sell itself to another business, or if that business decides to leave the United Kingdom and go somewhere else, or if that business decides to become a public business, to issue shares and become a company on the stock market. Any one of those 4 decisions, which are basic decisions businesses make, the law will require them to give what's called the right of first refusal to their own workers to buy the enterprise from the owners and convert it into a worker co-op. And when the skeptics, led by the business community of Britain, scoffed and said, where in the world would the workers get the money to buy the enterprise? Mr. Corbyn smiled and said, the government will lend it to them. You want to create a worker co-op sector in your economy? That's how you do it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to think it could never be done. They're doing it. The British are doing it. And you know why? Because they want their people, what a thought, to have a democratic vote on what kind of economy they want. You want it to stay capitalism, hierarchical, a few people make the decision? You want that? Or do you want a democratic workplace? But they know that the only way that people can make a decision is they have to see what it's like to have a democratic. They have to see them all over the place. They have to be able to work in them. They have to be able to talk to people who work in them. And so they're going to build a sector so that their people can then have a democratic decision about what to do. We're not doing anything in this country. They're planning for what the collapse of capitalism might bring as a problem. They're already working on it. We live in a country that pretends there's nothing to think or work about at all. If you have found even a small part of what I just did in this last hour interesting, you don't owe it to me. I'm just presenting to you what Marxism can teach you. Thank you very much.